When the tournament began, 23 players looked at that trophy and thought that can be mine on Sunday. With 7 rounds closing in on being done on day 1, for some, it's starting to come into sharp focus. For others, it is looking more and more distant. That's the nature of Swiss pairings, where you play against the player on the same record as yourself, round after round, and you play a Pro Tour champion, or a world champion, or a player of the year, round after round after round. Welcome in to the news desk as we close down day 1 here. Rich Hagan alongside Maria Bartholdi, and from Inside R&D, Paul Chion. I guess, Maria, perhaps we should start with some results. What's been going on in results land?
All right, let's take a look here. Ben Hull currently sitting at 4-3 over Luis Salvato. That's a result for you there. Marcio Carvalho currently sitting at 5-2 after defeating Matt Severa.
So, Paul, that's what we were talking about as being ahead of the curve. You get to 5-2, extrapolate that out, do it again. That's 10-4. That's definitely enough for the top 4 here.
Yeah, 5-2 is a target that you're looking for because you do get a little bit of leeway. Once you're 4-3, if you replicate that record, that is usually not going to be good enough to put you into the top 4.
Okay, on we go. More results.
All right, Ben Stark is sitting at 5-2 after defeating Brian Braun-Duin, who falls to 4-3.
I've got a little note about Ben Stark. We love Ben Stark here. I know a lot of you are fans of his, and we haven't had a chance to bring him to the desk. Brian David Marshall hasn't interviewed him out on the floor. He's not going to now either. That's on purpose. Ben's not very well, not feeling good at all. Every round, as soon as he's finished, we want to get him out of here. We want to get him back to hydrate, to sit and relax, in this case, to go home for the day. So if you're wondering, why haven't we seen more of Ben? There is a good reason, and that is what it is. So hopefully he'll be much better tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of him tomorrow as well, because he's 5-2, and that means he too is on track for a top 4 appearance.
All right, we've got Shahar Shenhar sitting at 3-4, 2-time champion there. Seth Manfield in a lot of trouble at 2-5.
So that's almost eliminated, Paul, right? We would say from 2-5, you win 6 in a row, you get to 8-5, then you win your last match, you get to 9-5, and hope that that no one has better tie breaks, where, I mean, almost everyone in that mix is going to have better tie breaks, presumably.
Yeah, once you pick up that 5th loss, especially this early in the tournament, it is incredibly difficult. He needs to run the table tomorrow and then hope that the tie breaks also holds up. You know, his chances of making it into the top 4 go up slightly if, let's say, a player were to go undefeated and is, you know, taking wins away from a lot of different players. But we saw Gregor lose, and I believe there are no undefeated players left in the tournament.
Nope, there are not. Nope.
All right, well, John Rolfe is currently sitting at 4-3 after defeating Owen Turtenwald, who falls to 3-4, and he is with BDM right now.
Hello, I'm here on the floor with John Rolfe. Sorry, man, you went out, so we're a little off on the cue here. But, John, playing in your first World Championship this year, what was your mentality coming into this event? Were you nervous?
Honestly, I was nervous, but not as much as I thought I would be, just because I knew I was an underdog, so there wasn't really much to lose, just play my best and hope to win.
So when you say you knew you were an underdog, how did you come to that conclusion?
There was a lot of power rankings on Twitter and fantasy drafts, and, you know, you figure it out, so.
No shame in being in the bottom half of the top 24 players, but does it give you a little extra fuel for your fire, or is it just like let you relax a little bit?
Kind of both. Relaxing, but I also want to prove that I can play with these guys, so, yeah.
I mean, but you had a pretty impressive Pro Tour season. You were in the mix for the Constructed Master right up to the end, but, you know, just on the merits of your season alone, were able to get yourself to the World Championship.
Right, yeah, it was taken away at the very last moment, which felt really bad, but then I just made my goal to get back here because I lost that avenue, so.
Now, I got to ask you about the shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have a scoop here.
Yeah. This is the first North American Haruya team. So it's me, Brandon Ayers, Alan Wu, Ben Hall, and Greg Orange, as well as
Jacob Negro.
Jacob Negro, yep. So, sorry, it's been a long day. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty exciting. How did that team come together?
We have a group chat on Facebook that Nathan Smith made a long time ago, and we just chat every day and decided we wanted a team together. Why not? So what is how are you coming into the North American
player base. How does that feel?
It feels great to be on the first team. I'm expecting them to expand more and more, so I'm just honored to be part of the team. So.
Now, where are you in the tournament right now as we head into day 2? Give me a grade on day 1 here at the World Championship. You're 4-3.
Better than I would have thought because I started out 0-2, so I'm happy to rally, I guess. Feeling good.
And then Standard treated you okay?
Yeah, if I can just figure out how to draft, like it'll be a much better day tomorrow. So.
All right. John Ralph, good luck tomorrow, and good luck with the How Are You North American team on the next Pro Tour season.
Thanks so much, BDM. And another result here. We saw it happen on screen. Ken Yukihiro 5-2 over Mike Sigris, playing that mono blue deck that I love, Paul. I love watching it play. And what was really interesting to me was that versus blue-black mid-range, he had to play it in a way that kind of seems a little bit counterintuitive to how you'd think the deck works. You think it's aggressive, it's playing Curious Obsession, but he took on a kind of more controlling role in that match.
Yeah, so that's the thing with this deck. People kind of look at the Slither Blade and go, oh, this deck is just looking to curve out 1, 2, 3, Tempest Djinn, get you. But, I mean, if you saw that last game against Mike Sigris, you know, this deck also has a late game. Because you know why? When you draw Tempest Djinn in the late game, it's got like 12 power. Right? He was able to just end the game with 2 attacks from the Tempest Djinn. And on top of that, you know, this is a deck just chock full of cheap, efficient counter magic, right? And then if you look at a deck like Mike Sigris' deck, it's got a lot of powerful cards, right? You have the Scarab God, you have Vraska's Contempt, but they're kind of clunky, right? You know, when you run those cards into Essence Scatter and Spell Pierce, you know, Ken Yukihiro is really able to sculpt a nice little tempo game where he can even set up a situation where he goes, you know, play Tempest Djinn, but I still have counter magic up for your follow-up.
And Nimble Obstructionist, too, playing a pretty cool role in that you can just flash it in end of turn to avoid removal or cycle it.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit about, you know, kind of that old school Fairies deck that you played, that was played back in Standard way back when. You know, it's got far less powerful effects,
Sure.
but it does have a gigantic creature. And yeah, I mean, Ken played that game beautifully and put himself in a really good position.
The last result has just come in. And if you want to know how brutal the field at the World Championship is, Martin User has just successfully reached 2-5 by beating Brad Nelson, who now is at 2-5. Ugh, just crazy, crazy stuff. So the good news is that all the results are in, and as a result, we're going to be heading very shortly to our end step. And just looking through some of these sort of mid-rank, the 4-3s and the 3-4s. You look at White Derby. I think 4-3, he'll be quite happy with that. John Rolfe, of course, at 4-3 as well. Andrea Mengucci, 4-3. And looking here, BBD. Now, BBD, I think, conversely, he'll be disappointed, Paul, because he started off great, 4-1. And then falls down to 4-3. Not great.
Not great, but, you know, he came into the tournament submitting the red-black mid-range deck that a lot of the other players chose to play. And, you know, it's really hard to get an edge, right? When you sit down across the table from another of the world's greatest, you're probably just you probably just have a 50% chance to win. So, you know, 4-3, still a reasonable record, still has a good chance, just needs to be able to rattle off some wins tomorrow. But, yeah, this is, again, a super tough field.
Matt Nass at 3-4 over Greg Orange this past round 2. Greg Orange is at 2-5, playing, of course, his Teferi control deck, which, you know, in the last Pro Tour looked pretty good against Red-Black Aggro. Looked like Red-Black Aggro didn't have a prayer, but not really performing here today.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the nice things about playing with the blue-white control deck is when everything lines up perfectly and you curve out, you play your 2-mana removal spell into 3, into Glimmer, into Teferi, your deck just feels perfect. But oftentimes you will stumble, and the red-black deck can just really punish you. You know, if you don't have the counter magic, if you're forced to use a removal spell, you know, if you're forced to cast a Settle the Wreckage to survive, your opponent can then follow that up with a card like Chandra and have Planeswalkers just take over the game. So, you know, red-black just has so many different tools that if it comes into the tournament looking to beat a deck, it just can.
All right, my friends, all the results are in, and since there's no more Magic to be played, it must be time for end step.
Hello and welcome to the End Step. Maria, Paul, and Rich here with you after a fabulous day of Magic here at the 2018 Magic the Gathering World Championship. A lot of excellent plays, excellent deck choices, and some Dominaria draft action as well. But of course, we need to choose our card of the day. And Paul, that hard job is up to you.
Yeah, so this was actually pretty difficult. I wanted to just basically insert very good card from red-black mid-range, and ultimately I decided to go with Glorybringer. We saw Glorybringer just kind of be able to actually put the nail in the coffin in a lot of different matchups. And, one of the key ones is it actually killed an Ornithopter to attack for lethal.
Nice.
But we saw this do a lot of work, and we've seen this kind of sneak its way into the main deck of a lot of these red-black mid-range decks to go over the top.
Yeah, and Wyatt Darby in particular is starting to, obviously it helps when you win an entire Pro Tour with a Glorybringer, but he's starting to sort of become a bit of a brand, the two of there. That, right. That is his signature card.
Yeah, what's he going to do once the rotation happens? He might just be lost.
Oh, Paul, you're always going to print a 5-mana 4/4 fly that's really good, aren't you?
To be determined.
Well, you know what's interesting, too, is that Glorybringer was our card of the day. I remember back when it first appeared on the scene at that Pro Tour Palo 1, and here it is being named our card of the day as we're in a mature standard format. It just shows the absolute powerhouse that card is.
Yeah, it just completely dominates combat. If your opponent makes the mistake of not keeping up mana to deal with the Glorybringer, it's just guaranteed to get you value. And, it just does everything. Even against control matchups, your opponent will at some point tap out for a Teferi or whatever, and it'll just be able to, mow down planeswalkers along with creatures.
It's fair to say that in general, Constructed is, of course, where someone will win the world title on Sunday, and certainly a lot of the intricacies happen in Constructed. So it's not that often that our match of the day turns out to come from Limited, Maria.
All right, Tim and Riley are here to tell us what it is.
Well, you know what? When it comes to Limited, it is one of those formats where the unexpected, it can just show up whenever you like. There's so many different options available. And Dominaria Draft, the reason that we love it so much is that there are lots of build-around cards, there are lots of powerful interactions, and we got a chance to see a somewhat unusual game in round 2 of this format, where we were looking at 2 black-white decks facing off.
Yeah, it was a very interesting draft. Obviously, one of the all-time great formats in Dominaria. But I got the chance to stand behind BBD. Now, he obviously played against Gregory Orange. That was our match of the day, Tim. And BBD's draft, well, it was a little buck wild. It started off pretty badly. Vicious Offering was the first pick, and then a couple of sketchy picks before a Skittering Surveyor, 4th pick. And from there, some huge rares came the way of BBD. Ariel Knight of Windgrace was a great pickup, but it was Rite of Belzenlock, in addition to, of course, another powerful rare in Mishra's Self-Replicator that really set the deck apart. The problem was, he sits down against Gregory Orange, and he's playing a very near mirror match in Limited.
Yeah, the way that this one played out, in Game 1, Ariel Knight of Windgrace was not to be denied. The powerful Legendary Knight was able to just take over the game, and it looked like this was going to be a foregone conclusion, but Mishra's Self-Replicator in the deck of Gregory Orange in Game 2 was able to generate a huge amount of value, a lot of historic spells being cast there, such that Mishra's Self-Replicator essentially was the entirety of the board. Game 3, though, was where both of these players had their best draws, and that was the point where we got a chance to see just haymakers on both sides. Absolutely spectacular match. If you're looking to look back through the coverage, round 2, our match of the day, Gregory Orange, Brian Brown doing, sending things back to the desk.
Yeah, to be fair, Maria, that's the word that I think disgusting was invented for.
I think excellent was invented.
They ran out of tokens. There were so many replicators in play, they ran out of tokens.
Yeah, it was truly fabulous to behold. And I love a good limited scrap, but that was silly. That was just silly, and it was
great. That's
great.
Exactly what you're dreaming for when you pick that card. And when you put it into your deck, it's just going off. He had 12 tokens in play.
That is like, the draft experience, right? You open this rare, you look at it, you're like, how deep can I go? And I think Greg kind of reached the maximum depths of the number of tokens you could create with that card.
And, it's not always a sure thing with that card either.
He still lost.
He did.
Yeah.
It wasn't good enough. 12 tokens wasn't good enough. But it's absolutely one of the, I think, highlights that shows why Dominaria is so fun, is you can even take this extremely powerful card and see it at its height, and it's not good enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Now, our player of the day, we thought for a long time this guess was going to be Gregor Kowalski because, you know, he won his first round and then his second round and then his third round. And then we went into the afternoon and then he won again and again and again. But Javier Dominguez got there in the end. And Javier Dominguez at 6-1 now co-leads this tournament with Gregor Kowalski. Dominguez is with Brian David Marshall.
Thanks, Rich. I'm here with our player of the day, Javier Dominguez. Javier, the last time you were at the World Championship came one match short of winning the whole thing. This tournament seems to treat you well.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot complain. Like 6-1 is much better than what I would expect for this day. So, yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit because we were just talking off camera about kind of you're exhausted. What is the mental strain of playing 7 rounds against this incredibly stacked field?
Yeah, it just like feels like I could have like walking a mountain for the whole day. I'm like I just want to sleep now. Yeah, it's so hard because you have to think the whole games about what they can think, what do you think, and yeah, it just feels like so exhausting after the rounds. Yeah, it's like tiring. Yeah.
You never get to take a round off, right?
No, yeah, you get the small breaks, but even in a small break, you cannot really like disconnect. So you have to stay like in tournament mode. So yeah, that after some rounds, yeah, it's exhausting.
We've had you on camera quite a bit this weekend, and the first time we saw you on camera was during that draft. I have to ask you, about your preferred hunched drafting method. What's going on there? It was very hard to see the cards.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize to people. Like I don't know what's getting recorded. Like, and I'm used to draft like that, and sometimes I try to correct it, but like it's been like that like since forever. So sometimes it's hard to correct the habits. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and the deck wasn't good, so.
Not something you wanted to show off, but it carried you to a 2-1 record. Your only loss came with that deck. 5-0 in standard here. You feel pretty good about your deck choice? 4-0, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel better for standard than for draft today. But yeah, I mean, half of field pretty much plays a deck similar to mine. I'm confident the way we played build the deck for the mirror match. And yeah, I think the deck is fine. I mean, it definitely performed well today, but I can also see it going another way. Like today went 4 on standard. I honestly think I could go 0-4 tomorrow. So it's like I'm happy with the deck, but not like super happy because I know like it's like a very small edges anyway.
All right, well, you're going to have to do really well in that draft if you want to give yourself a couple of losses in standard. Javier Dominguez, our player of the day here at day 1 of the World Championship.
Okay, hey, Maria.
Yeah.
Look.
Rich.
I got the leaderboard.
It's
right here.
Yes, but
I'm going to go for him first.
I can't see it. I can't see it, Rich. I can't see what
you need to. You need to not sit like that.
You're hunched.
Oh, okay. Better.
Yeah, that's
Can they
great.
see it now? See, they can't see it now either. You should show it to them.
All right, let's take a look at the leaderboard after day 1 here at the World Championship. And there you have it. Our 2 leaders, Javier Dominguez and Gregor Kowalski, both currently sitting at 6-1. Congratulations to them. Sitting pretty heading into day 2. Ben Stark, Ken Yukihiro, and Marcio Carvalho nipping at their heels at 5-2. Mike Sigrist coming up after that, and a whole lot of 4-3s, 3-4s, and down at the bottom of the pack, Martin Yuza, Seth Manfield, Greg Orge, Brad Nelson. Such huge names of the game. But then again, so is every name on this list.
So tomorrow we will come back and do it all again with the knowledge that Javier Dominguez and Gregor Kowalski lead the field at 6-1. We go back to 3 rounds of Dominaria draft, and then we wrap things up with 4 more rounds of standard. So, final thoughts. Maria, what's your takeaway from the day?
More Dominaria draft, please.
Okay, it's like you just want to go to bed, get back up, and get back to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Paul, you.
I'd like to see more Tempest Gins and Nimble Obstructionists. That's what I want to see. Just trying to figure out what Ken was going to do and how his deck worked during the last match was just really, really exciting.
There is so much to look forward to. We are only just beginning our 3 days that celebrate all that's best about the highest levels of the game here in Las Vegas, Nevada. As we head towards day 2, we'll come back and do 3 more rounds of Dominaria draft, 4 more rounds of standard constructed. Javier Dominguez will still be hunched over his cards and grinning away at 6-1. We're back at 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll see Seth Manfield trying to battle back from 2-5, just as Martin User is. BBD at 4-3. And then there's Owen Turtenwell. Can he make a deep run? What? You shouldn't have taken that. Who recorded that? Outrageous. Gregor Kowalski, Javier Dominguez, the top 2. And that here in Sin Collector City. Will dreams come true for tomorrow? We head for our top 4. See you in the morning.